How to practice Ketamine-State yoga for the first time. This video will provide a basic practice you can bring to your next ketamine session. That said, the more you practice these methods, the more you work with them consistently over time, the more effective they will be within the ketamine journey. There are two things to understand going in. What is ketamine, and what are you? As far as ketamine goes, we're thinking of it not as a drug or even a medicine, but rather as a tool for discovering more deeply and essentially what you are, your true nature. You are more your body, your embodied being, your breath, than you are the endless swarm of thoughts, opinions, and stories in your thinking mind. You are more than the story in your head. And you're going to use ketamine to probe that essential truth and to really deeply learn it. So rather than a medicine that you take to alleviate symptoms, ketamine is seen as a tool for deep, embodied learning about yourself. From this depth, from this core understanding, your intuitive wisdom, your intuitive, deep love for yourself, even if that feels impossible to access on the ego's terms, will become available and healing will naturally take place. Now, the ego has plenty of denial and defense mechanisms, fair warning. It will rear up and say, no, really I am these identities. My profession, my walk of life, my age, my status in a group or family, my accomplishments, my achievements, my failures. These things are me. So fundamentally, when we go into a ketamine-state yoga practice, we are asking our body, our breath, and our pure mind, the true essence of ourselves, to reveal what we are on a deeper level. So in ketamine-state yoga, the intention, the sort of core motivation that you approach the practice with is something like, may I know myself more deeply. May I learn more deeply in my body, in my breath, in my natural mind, what I am. And may this lead to healing outcomes. May this improve my state of being and my life. But first, may I come to understand myself through this work, through the use of this mystical tool. Building energy and awareness. So here's what you do heading into the journey and during the first stages. This is a practice you can start performing in the waiting room. You can perform during the come-up. It can be very brief. If you have IV or IM, the come-up period will be very, very steep, very rapid. This practice is very, very simple. It involves the breath and it involves awareness. So a little bit on the mechanics of breathing. I invite you to put your hands on your abdomen, and as you inhale through the nose, feel your belly expand in all directions like a balloon. And then as you exhale, drop the jaw and sigh the air all the way out. See if you can let every last drop go, not with pushing, just with letting go. So the inhale swells the belly like a balloon. It's deep belly breathing from the core. And the belly swells like a balloon. And on the exhale, You drop the jaw and sigh the air out, letting the breath go all the way out. And we perform this in this basic ketamine state yoga practice in cycles of 3 breaths. And when the final exhalation trails all the way to the bottom of the lungs, all the way out, we bring the awareness to the heart center right in the middle of the body and rest in awareness right there. It's really that simple. So 3 breaths, inhaling deeply from the belly, exhale, dropping the jaw, and just allowing it to spill out. Complete relaxation, letting go. And on the 3rd and final exhalation, we land at the bottom with empty lungs, resting there, and bring the awareness to the heart center. If it feels right, you can close your eyes during this practice. So inhale deeply from the belly through the nose. Exhale, drop the jaw, sigh it out the mouth. Here's number 2, inhaling from the belly. Drop the jaw, sigh it out. And final number 3, deep as you can from the belly. And now exhale, drop the jaw, and let the breath go, let it go, let it go, let it sail all the way out. And now bring your awareness to your heart center, just feeling whatever is there. And return the breath to normal and just feel how that feels. So now that practice can be performed several times, many times, leading up to the peak of the ketamine experience. Each time you take these deep belly breaths, you may feel a sense of invigoration. You may feel a sense of deep relaxation just from that deep conscious breathing. And every time the jaw relaxes, the breath goes sailing out with complete letting go and lands at the bottom. And then you bring that awareness to your heart center and rest that awareness at your heart center. You see, so even though in the modern world we think of thoughts as being generated in the brain and all of that, and certainly that internal chatter that's endless, the story of you constantly pummeling you inside your head is all generated in the brain. But when people say me, they indicate themselves. They don't go like this. They say me, the heart center. So the awareness lands at the heart center and you bring that awareness to you. It could be a good strategy to set a timer that chimes every 2 minutes, say, so that you remember. Because especially when its territory is being contested, when its primacy is being contested, the ego can get very tricky and start to generate lots of distracting thoughts. And your intention, again, going into this ketamine state yoga practice is to learn yourself, learn your true nature more deeply. That's it. A very humble, but also very, very awe-inspiring goal. So the ego will flare up and generate lots of stuff. Narratives, worries, concerns, fretting about things that happened in the past, worrying about things that may happen in the future. So you bring the awareness back to the breath, those deep inhalations from the belly, exhales, just spilling out 3 cycles of 3, and then you land at the bottom, you let the air trail out, just letting go, letting go, letting go, and bring that awareness back to the heart. And the thoughts are just going to keep on, they're going to flare up again. They're going to flare up again, and they're going to be very demanding, and they may see what you're up to. They may see that you are ultimately pursuing a practice that is going to disempower the ego, is going to return you to an understanding of what you are beyond the ego. And that will make the ego extra anxious to assert its primacy by generating lots of emotionally fraught thinking. So that's okay. You simply notice and return to the practice. Notice and return. Oh my God, there's my thoughts going wild. Come back, inhale from the belly, exhale. letting the breath go, letting go, cycles of 3. And then on the final one, and just keep letting go, let all the air trail out, and then awareness just for a moment at the heart center. Noticing and returning. Noticing, returning, noticing, returning. This is the core of any meditation practice. And this is the core of the Ketamine-State yoga approach to integration, to taking the insights and benefits of the experience and drawing them out into all of life. So after you've practiced the conscious breathing and awareness at the heart center practice a number of times, heading into the peak of the experience, you can let it go. You can let it go and just surrender. And then on the come down of the experience, this is when the effects of the medicine are starting to wane and your ordinary mind is starting to return. Now is the golden opportunity to reinforce this deep learning and gain a true understanding of your nature, which means an understanding of the mechanics of the ego, of the thinking mind. So you're lying there, perhaps feeling very relaxed. Perhaps you're feeling a surge of energy. Okay. You've spent this time breathing deeply and consciously, letting the breath go, bringing the awareness to the body. And as the ordinary mind returns, the thoughts return, or they get louder and more demanding. You simply notice and return. Okay. The instruction here is not to push the thoughts away. Just like the goal of learning about your true nature does not involve cutting off parts of yourself. It doesn't involve determining what parts of you are good and bad and trying somehow to separate those. It involves a humble return to the body and the breath. So in that come down phase, the medicine wearing off, the ordinary mind coming back to its ordinary intensity, and you notice those thoughts, and you come back to the breath and the body. Only one breath is necessary here. Inhale from belly, allow the breath to go, drop the jaw, bring the awareness back to the heart center. And the thoughts will come back again. That's what they'll do. You're not going to rid yourself of the ego in one ketamine journey, but you will weaken its dominance, and in learning about your true nature as an embodied, breathing, and even mystical being, you gain leverage against that ego that has dominated your sense of self since early childhood. So again and again, notice, return, notice, return, notice, return, each time with a breath and a release, bringing the awareness back to the heart center. Me. Thoughts, fretting about the past, worrying about the future, thoughts, notice, awareness, inhale from belly, let it go, awareness, back to the heart center. And this is the integration practice too. So as the days go by, as the weeks go by, as the months go by, as everyday life is in its full swing, you now have this capacity, because you practiced it and you learned it, to notice and return. Notice, return. And the one addition to practicing this way during the integration period, as opposed to the come down of the actual ketamine journey, is here I invite you to engage the vision and the other senses too. So going about your busy day, and you notice a swarm of thoughts, or you notice emotional clenching, pain, you notice You notice the machinery of the ego churning away. You notice, you bring the awareness to the belly, you breathe. One breath. No need to close the eyes. Allow the breath to sail all the way out. Bring the awareness to the heart center. And now, no eyes closed. Open the eyes. With that moment, that awareness at the heart center, look at the cloud, or the truck, or the crowd of people, or the dog, or whatever, the building. Just be with it there. Okay, so that is ultimately the practice for the long tail of the integration period. Days, weeks, months, forever. This practice is very similar to practices in Tibetan dream yoga that are geared toward becoming lucid in the night's dream. Here, we're using these practices to become more aware of ourselves as embodied, as breathing, as having senses, and not merely being this ongoing, churning story with all of its stresses and concerns in the thinking mind. So notice, deep breath from the belly, let it go, awareness at the heart center, and now just touch in with reality. Just touch in with you. So again, in Ketamine-State yoga, ketamine is a tool for learning about yourself. It can be on the most mystical level, or it can just be body, breath, mind. What am I? I hope your practice goes well. Thank you.